Good afternoon, students. Audible? Okay. So as I told you, today we will be only revising differentiation and integration. So I hope all of you have seen the videos. Those who have not seen, again, I request you to first see the previous videos. However, today I will be doing the revision. So it will help you to, really recollect and remember whatever has been done in those two topics, differentiation and integration. However, before I go for that, in vectors, let me just ask one small question and we will start. Okay. Yeah, today it will be more or less revision, but try to attend because it will be, it will rewind, it will help you to recollect whatever important things we have done. So before I start differentiation and integration on vectors, let me ask something. Suppose I give you two vectors in the same direction. Suppose I give two vectors in the same direction. And let us say magnitude of this is A, magnitude of this is A. Matlab magnitude I am taking same. Maybe it is 5, 5. Now listen carefully. Suppose somebody says find the magnitude of sum of vectors. Sum of the two vectors. These two vectors. Suppose sum I want, SUM. Then what will be the answer? Magnitude only you tell. It will be, this is in this direction, this is also in the same direction. So since it is in same direction, I can write 2A. Yes or no? A plus A will be 2A. This should be very clear. But for same question, they can also ask difference of two vectors. Difference of the two vectors. So now if I ask difference, then what you have to do? Matlab, if this vector, if I call A bar, this vector, if I call B bar, then difference when they say, it means what? You have to add A with minus of B. Minus of B means what? You have to flip B bar. So this is your second vector. If you flip this one and you add, you will get 0 because this is A. Once you flip it, it will become minus A. So now the answer will be 0. So this is clear, right? This part is clear, everybody, I hope. Of course, if it is at some angle, then we have to use R sum. For sum, we have to use root over formula. A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta, if there is some angle. But if it is in same direction, then when you add the two, when you ask sum, then you simply add. If they ask difference, then you have to subtract. Okay, that's it. Okay, you please understand, when I say difference of vectors, you have to flip this vector. You have to flip this second vector. So once you flip this, it will become minus. So A minus A will be 0. You can also write the same answer this way also. So suppose you take components. Okay, now whenever you write in components, you have to mention where is your x-axis and y-axis. So say this is x-axis, this is y-axis. Okay, now so this vector will be what? A I cap, because it is in x-axis, parallel to x-axis, right? And this vector, if I say B bar, what it will be? It is also magnitude is A only, so I can write A. Direction is I cap only, so I cap. So now if they want sum of these two, it will be A I cap plus A I cap, 2A I cap. This is the sum. Now if you ask magnitude, then what will you get? 2A. So same answer you will get by taking components also. Understanding or not? So you can write these two vectors in component form. Here it is easy because it is along x-axis. So no y component, no z component. So first vector will be magnitude I cap. Second vector will be magnitude I cap. Then if they ask sum, you add. Similarly, if they ask difference of the two vectors, it will be A I cap minus A I cap. That will be 0. Okay, now. Same thing. Suppose I give you two vectors whose magnitude is A. Second vector also magnitude is A. But it is opposite. Now listen carefully, opposite. These kind of examples, where you get, imagine Earth is going around sun. Now when Earth is there, its velocity will be in this direction. Velocity means wherever it is moving. So at that point, it wants to move tangentially, right? So here the velocity is in this direction. Suppose magnitude is, let's say, V. When it reaches here, now its velocity will be here. Magnitude, let us assume same. If you assume circular orbit, same speed. So like this example you will find in this case or many other cases. As we start physics from tomorrow, we will start, you will come to know many examples. Okay, na? So these are two vectors which are in opposite direction, but I am saying they have same magnitude. Magnitude is same, length is same. So now if I ask sum of vectors magnitude, what will be the answer? If I add these two without flipping, what will be the answer? Now it will be 0. Because we have to add this with this. This is negative of this, na? In vector form if you write. And what will be difference of vectors? Difference of vectors will be what now? So difference means you have to flip this one. So if you flip this one and you add here, it will be in the same direction. So you will get 2a. So be careful. What I am trying to explain? I am trying to explain that sometimes the sum will be 0. When will be sum 0? If you add two vectors which are in opposite direction. And when will be difference 0? Difference will be 0 when the two vectors are in same direction. Like the previous one. Previous one, you see, difference was 0. So this is something I want all of you to be very careful. Okay. So this vector, for example, now we can do in vector form. This one I can write a bar equals to 5 cap. This one I can write b bar equals to magnitude is a. This is a only. I cap or minus I cap for this one. If this is I cap, this will be also I cap. No, this will be minus I cap. Right? So now if you add the two vectors and ask the magnitude, you will get a I cap minus a I cap, because b bar is minus a I cap. So you will get 0. And if you subtract a bar minus b bar, what will you get? A I cap minus a I cap. That will give you 2a I cap. And if you take magnitude of I cap is I only, 1 only, so 2a. So these things you should be very clear and simple, okay? Do not get confused. So let's say I have two vectors, here magnitude a, here magnitude a. And suppose I want to know a bar plus b bar, magnitude I want to know. Then best way is you can either use root over formula or you can write in component form. So first vector, how will you write? A I cap, magnitude is a I told. Second vector, how will you write? Magnitude is a only. So a, but minus j cap. Why minus j cap? Because usually we write x here, y here. And this will be I cap, this will be j cap. This is ulta of j cap. Ulta of j cap means minus j cap. So this is how you can first write in component form the two vectors. Right? Once you do that, if they want sum of the vectors, substitute made a I cap minus a j cap. Now you cannot directly add because these are not like terms. So now if they ask magnitude of this vector, you know this is the x component, this is the y component, so it will be root over x component square plus y component square, which will be root 2a. Correct? Similarly, if I ask difference of the two vectors, magnitude, first let us calculate difference. So difference will be what? A I cap minus will be plus a j cap. So this is the sum of the vectors for these two. This is the difference of the vectors. Now if I ask magnitude, once you know x component and y component, how to find magnitude of any vector? Root over x component square plus y component square. That will be again root 2. So magnitude will be same. Okay, so be careful about these small topics. This one you can make a note. Okay, so this is I am calling a bar. This one I am calling b bar. But I am saying magnitudes are same. So of course you can write b if you want. But what I am saying is b and a are equal. Magnitudes are equal. If do you think direction of these two will be same? Do you think direction will be same? Magnitude is same. Direction will not be same, right? For example, a bar plus b bar will be here. If this is a bar, this is b bar. A bar plus b bar will be here. A bar plus b bar will be here. This is your a bar plus b bar. According to which law? Parallelogram law. But this vector will be where? This is a bar minus b bar. So you have to flip b bar. If you flip b bar ulta, it will be here. So this will be minus b bar. Then you have to add with a bar. So this will be your a bar minus b bar. So directions are not same, but magnitude, this length and this length are same. Root 2a, root 2a. So whenever they will ask difference of two vectors, first you flip this vector. Flip matlab you understood. No, if this is b bar, flip matlab like this. And then add with a bar. Because that is the meaning of a bar minus b bar. A bar minus b bar means a bar plus minus b bar. Done, students? Because these things will come later when we start kinematics. From tomorrow we will start kinematics. Writing part is done. Okay. Let us now do quick revision of differentiation and integration. Okay, first we will start with differentiation. So let us discuss differentiation. First of all, understand differentiation is used whenever you want to know rate of change. This is something that should be in your mind all the time. See, if you look at the world around you, you will see changes. And when something changes, you want to know how the change is changing, how the change itself is changing. Is it changing faster? Is it changing slower? Or is it changing at a constant rate? So those things are very important to know when something changes. So differentiation will tell you about rate of change of something with respect to something. So if I'm running, my position will change with time. My position will change with time. Now, depending on how fast I run, sometimes my position will change faster. Sometimes my position will change slower. Sometimes it will be at a constant rate. Constant rate matlab 5 meter per second, 5 meter per second, 5 meter per second, like that. Understood or not? So in those cases, we need differentiation to find rate of change. Now, graphically, if they want to know graphically, then it represents slope. So please, these two things you always keep in your mind whenever I talk about differentiation. This is when I talk about diagrams, okay, graphs. So let us say I have a variable y, which is a function of x. Function of x means simply when x changes, y also changes. So for example, it can be position is function of time, right? Your marks is function of time in studies, right? Runs is function of overs. So as overs change, runs will change. Okay, in group I cannot send. Any specific student, if you have a problem, you can message me. Okay, so position function with time. Position can be a function of time. Your marks can be a function of time in studies that you spend, and runs can be a function of overs, right? So let us say I plot a graph of y, which is a function of x, and my graph looks something like this. Okay, now this could be, think, if you get confused what is y, what is x, think this is runs and this is overs. So you can see with equal number of overs, equal number of runs are not scored. You can see the runs are increasing. Runs are increasing, no doubt. But the increase in the runs itself is changing. So in first one over, if this much runs is scored, next one over, same amount of runs is not scored. So the change itself is changing. Beautiful sentence. Change itself is changing. Keep this in mind. So suppose you want to know the rate of change. Rate of change, matlab, in this example, it will be run rate. So what you do, you take 2 points in the graph. Find the coordinates. This is your x1, this is y1. Now, when I write x1, it always means from origin to here is x1. Okay, it's like a scale. So from origin to here is x1, from origin to here is y1. Okay, then you take another point, find its coordinates. x2 here, x2 here, and y2 here. Okay, is it lagging for everyone? No. Okay. So take 2 points. For those who it is lagging, you can just wait, or maybe you will either have to wait, or maybe you can see the video later. So take 2 points in the graph, okay, and then you find the coordinates of the 2 points by dropping this perpendiculars. Okay, then what you do, you draw this straight line passing through these 2 points. Okay, this straight line. Then let me draw this also. Now, if I ask this gap, that will be your x2 minus x1, because this much is x2, this much is x1. Difference will be x2 minus x1. That we write delta x. Delta we use for change. So delta x means change in x. Similarly, this gap will be y2 minus y1. That change we write delta y. This is y2 from origin. Always, whenever coordinates is mentioned, it is from origin to that point. So that will be your delta y. Now, when people say rate of change of y with respect to x, matlab, when x is changing, how is y changing? How fast it is changing? To know that, you have to calculate rate of change. How do we calculate this? Always ratio. Right? It is obviously ratio. It is how much runs is scored per over. So per over means what? You have to divide by the number of overs. Yes or no? So you have to divide by change in x. But you can see from this point to this point, your rate of change is not constant because the graph is curved line. Yes or no? So you can clearly see this ratio is not constant. So we have to write here average rate of change. Average rate of change. For example, are you understanding, right? So whenever I write delta y by delta x, it represents average rate of change. Why? Because the rate of change itself is changing. Here you see the rate is slow. It is very slow. Then it becomes faster, 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 faster. So the rate is increasing. So if you talk about particular rate, it means it is an average rate of change. So this is average rate of change of y with respect to x. Between which points? A and B. So between x2 and x1. x2 and x1 means from here to here. So this is something very important. Okay, already we have discussed, but just quick revision I am doing. Now you can give this a meaning. Graphically, you can give a meaning. If you look at this triangle here, if I draw an angle here theta, then this ratio is nothing but tan theta. Check once. So this is opposite, this is adjacent, and this right angle triangle, this is theta. So I can write this ratio as tan theta. Understood or not? And tan theta in mathematics we say slope of this line. So this is slope of line AB. This is slope of line AB. Okay, students? The slope of line AB. So this is how we calculate average rate of change. So now you can, you can change y into distance covered, x into time. Then this will become delta distance by delta time. Delta distance by delta time is speed. But what kind of speed I should say? Average speed. Okay, so if this is distance, then this is time, then this part we call speed. Speed is defined as what? Rate of change of distance with respect to time. But right now we will do with y and x. From tomorrow, physics will start. Okay. Now, suppose you are not interested to know rate of change, average rate of change. Here we are calculating average rate of change. It's like saying I am asking for average marks in the class. So when I say average marks in the class, it tells me how the class is performing, but it doesn't tell me individually how the students are performing. Understood or not? So if you want to know marks of one particular student, then you have to go to that student and ask the marks. You cannot calculate average. Similarly here, your rate of change is changing, remember. Your rate of change is changing. First it is slow, then it is faster, then it is faster. So now I want to calculate rate of change at a particular instant or at a particular point in the graph, not between 2 points. Okay. So now I want to know instantaneous rate of change of y with respect to x at one particular point, and that point depends on the question. Obviously, let us choose that point as A. So here I want to know. So if you want to know the rate of change here, then how to do? Then it becomes very complicated, because to find rate of change you have to divide delta y by delta x, but to get delta x you need to take 2 points. Understood? But now I want instantaneous at one point only. So now what we have to do, we have to bring this point closer and closer to this point. Understood? So now what we have to do, we have to take delta y by delta x. However, we have to take limit of this till b comes very close to a. Now, if b comes very close to a, x2 will come very close to x1. Agree or not? If b comes very close to a, x2 will come very close to x1. Agree or not? Yes. So if b comes very close to a, x2 will come very close to x1. Now if x2 will come very close to x1, if this will go very close to this will go close to 0. Right? 3 minus 2, 2.5 minus 2, 2.2 minus 2, 2.01 minus 2, 2.0001 minus 2. So if you bring the second coordinate very close to the first coordinate, the difference will become very, very small. So the whole idea of instantaneous rate of change at a particular point is to bring the other point very close to this point. You can choose any other point, I don't care. But since already I have mentioned here B, that point B you bring close to A and keep calculating this ratio. So that mathematically, how do we write? Limit of this ratio till delta x tends to 0. And this is what we call differentiation of y with respect to x. And in mathematics, we write dy by dx. Understood or not? So anytime you see this, you should imagine this. And what this does it give you? It gives you instantaneous rate of change. Instantaneous at a particular point. Because I am making delta x so small. This delta x is so small that you cannot differentiate between A and B only. They will look almost 1 point. However, there has to be a small gap, remember. Otherwise, there is no meaning of delta y by delta x. You cannot take the same point. However, it should be as close as possible. As close as possible. Okay. Not 0.999, 0.000000000001 like that. Okay. So once we have understood this, now graphically, what does it mean? Before, what was delta y by delta x? Tan of this angle, right? Now see what happens when this B comes closer and closer to A. You don't know, students, how important these things will be for your entire career. So please make sure you are looking carefully and thinking. So imagine again, this was the graph. So when I want instantaneous rate of change, I'm talking about at one point, some coordinate x, right? So then what I do, I bring this point closer and closer to this point. Then this line, which was joining with 2 points, will now join only 1 point like this. So it will look like a tangent to this point. The tangent should not touch so many points. I know that. So like this, let's see. So this is the graph, and now the line which was joining 2 points before, now it will become tangent at 1 point because your B is extremely close to A, and whatever angle it makes, phi, let us call it, that will become your slope, tan of phi. So what was tan theta before will now become tan phi. And what is phi? You can write theta also, no problem. But just remember, now theta is this, not the previous one. Previously, this was theta, right? This was theta. But when this comes closer to this point, this line becomes tangent, like this. So please remember this, very important. So basically, what does differentiation give you? It gives you rate of change at a particular point. We call that instantaneous rate of change. And then graphically, if you want to know, if somebody says, this is the graph, find dy by dx at this point, what will you do? Draw a tangent. Then you measure angle with positive x-axis, phi. Then your dy by dx will be tan phi. And when you substitute this phi here, you will get negative value. Okay, because I have told you tangent of acute angle is positive, tangent of obtuse angle is negative. So try to remember these small things. Then we came to some formulas, because actually we cannot do differentiation by making delta x smaller and smaller and smaller, right? How long will we do it? So the good news is Newton has already made all the important formula. So that formula we have to remember. So first formula was differentiation of x power n by dx. So if your function is, this is your y, this is your function, right? Dy by dx, no, dy by dx, y is the function of x. So if your y is x power n, what is the formula? Nx power n minus 1. So that is one important formula. Sometimes there will be some constant into some function. Then what you do, constant you take outside, multiply with dy by dx. Okay. And then some other formulas are there. Differentiation of sine x is cos x, like that. Okay. So let us do one simple problem. So y is equal to 2x square plus 2x plus 5. By the way, what is differentiation of only constant? Only constant. Sorry. Differentiation of only constant is 0. Because constant itself will never change, right? Okay, so keep this in your mind. Now, suppose this is given and somebody says find dy by dx. Then how will we do? First, you have to differentiate this term, d by dx of 2x squared plus d by dx of 2x plus d by dx of 5. Matlab, substitute this here. Then differentiation of this, how will you do? 2 is a constant, take it outside. Then what will be left? Differentiation of x square. Here this 2 is a constant, take it out. Dx by dx. And here 5 is only there, only constant is there, then it is 0. Don't take 5 out. If you take 5 out, what will be left? 1 will be left, right? So this will be 0 because it is only constant. Okay, so differentiation of only constant is 0 because constant doesn't change, no. So what will be rate of change? 0. So then you apply the formula here. What is differentiation of x power n? Nx power n minus 1. So this is your n. So nx power n minus 1. And differentiation of x with respect to x will be 1. So this will be 4x power 1 plus 2, which is 4x plus 2. Now this is called time waste. In both in entrance exam, this is time waste because directly also you can do. Take 2 outside. Differentiation of x square is 2x from this formula. Take 2 outside. Differentiation of x itself will be 1. So answer will be 4x plus 2. Directly also you can do. For board exam, do like this. For entrance exam, do like that. Okay. Let me give you one very interesting function. Suppose I give you differentiation of 1 minus, or let me write x minus 2 whole square. Now this, if it is given, directly you cannot apply this formula because this formula is for x power n. X power n. This is not x power n. X minus 2 is there. So this itself is a function. Correct now? This itself is a function. So what you can do, you can write this one as y. Think it is some other function y. Then, so what I'm saying is let y be equal to x minus 2. Let. Then what will happen to this? D by dx of y square. Correct? Imagine that this thing is your y. Now this we cannot do directly because this is y, this is x. So what rule I have to apply? Tell me the name of the rule. New students, can you tell me? New students. Sir, how will you know which are new students? Correct only. But I'm hoping, okay. So what will you do here? Here you have to apply chain rule, right? So what you will do, you will write this as dy square by dy into dy by dx. It is allowed, no? It is allowed because you can cancel dy and go back here if you want. So once I do this, now you can see for this, I can apply this formula. So differentiation of y square divided by dy will be 2y into dy by dx. Then finally you put whatever was y. What was y? This is in place of this I wrote y, no? So I have to write y as x minus 2 into differentiation of x minus 2. So this will be 2 into x minus 2 into differentiation of x will be 1. Differentiation of 2 will be constant, will be 0. Correct now? Dx by dx is 1 minus d2 by dx. 2 is constant. So differentiation will be 0. So answer is 2x minus 2. 1 minus 0 is 1 only, right? Which is 2x minus 4. Somebody was already answering. So like this, you have to apply chain rule if your function is not directly, if you cannot apply the formula. So directly, if you cannot apply the formula, if you can do directly, you can do. Stalin, if you can do directly, you can do. So it depends on whether you can do directly or not, because this problem is for entrance. In mathematics, they will ask for board exam. We will not ask. So chain rule is only for entrance. Okay. In physics, okay. In mathematics, they will have for board exam also. So tell me now some few names of important names for rate of change. rate of change. So suppose I say there is x-axis and a car is moving along x-axis. This is your y-axis, this is origin, this is the x-coordinate. After some time it goes there. Then here if I write dx by dt, what will you call this? Dx by dt. You have to be more exact, students. Right? Speed by time. Huh? Who is saying speed by time? Distance into time. Huh? Average speed. Huh? Average speed. Huh? Dx by dt. Very good. So in revision also you are answering very nicely. Somebody is saying acceleration also. Slope of speed. Very good. Okay. So this is your instantaneous speed. Okay. Instantaneous speed. Is there any problem or something that you people are not understanding? Why you are calling this C? What is X here? Position. Position. What is T here? Time. If I write delta X by delta T, then you can call this average speed. Then you can call it average speed, no doubt. Just like delta Y by delta X is average rate of change of Y. So actually, if you want to say more perfectly, you can say it is instantaneous rate of change of X with respect to time. Like this, you can say more perfectly. But what is the name given to rate of change of distance with respect to time? X is nothing but distance of the car from the origin. So what is the name given to this? That name you should know, na? Rate of change of distance with respect to time. Unit will be meter per second. Again, average speed you are saying. So this name is given for speed. So what will be dx by dt? Instantaneous speed. Instantaneous speed. Okay, most of you gave wrong answers. So tell me if there is anything you are not understanding, I will explain. Those who gave wrong answer, think about what made you give wrong answer so that I can explain to you. It is better to explain in live, no, but than in message and all. So this is x matlab position. What will be unit of this? This is meter. This is second. So meter per second, how it is acceleration? It cannot be acceleration, no? Everybody understood now? Okay. Similarly, suppose I write, now let us say this is moving with some speed, you know, and that speed we can add v also. So this is v. Dx by dt is your v. Okay, instantaneous speed, this symbol we write as v. Now suppose the v is also changing. Suppose this is also changing. Suppose v is also changing. V can change, no? If you put accelerator, your speed will change. So now tell me what will you call this? Be careful, students. Aram say you answer. What will you call this? Delta I have used. Be careful. Average velocity. How this is average velocity? This is average velocity, no? This is average velocity, right? This is average velocity. Right now, don't distinguish between velocity and speed. You can take them same only. Tomorrow I will show the difference. So this is nothing but average rate of change of what I should write? Which symbol I should write? Rate of change of what symbol? v with respect to t. So when I write delta y by delta x, it is called average rate of change of y with respect to x. Average rate of change. So you can write like this, no problem. But writing so much, it takes time, no? So we have given some names, right? Suppose there was no name for me, it would be very difficult for you to talk about me, no? You have to say that person who looks like this, who teaches physics. Like you have to, like it will be difficult to talk about me. If you give me a name, it will be easy. Pankaj sir is there in AAC college like that, or Edustine, right? So this is, we have given a name to this rate of change of velocity with respect to time, and that we call acceleration. Tomorrow all these things will come, students, so be prepared now only. So this ratio is your average acceleration. Average acceleration. Okay, you can write like this if you want. If you have a lot of time, you can write like this. What will you call this one? So now it is instantaneous acceleration. And this will be slope of VT graph. Okay, this will be slope of XT graph. Okay, so keep those things in your mind. These two things are there in kinematics. So when something moves, it will have position with respect to origin, right? Origin matlab what? The point from where you are doing the measurement for distance or for position. So when something is there, you are first interested to know position. Then you are interested to know velocity. Then you are interested to know acceleration. So this tree, the relationship between this tree, x, v, t, this, x, v, a, this should be clear. Okay. So when position changes, there is velocity. When velocity changes, there is acceleration. So I've seen most of you have not revised properly. Okay, let us now see integration. Okay. So integration basically is the reverse process of differentiation. Reverse process of differentiation. Okay, so let us again understand integration also in terms of y as a function of x. So again, when x changes, y changes. So if you plot a graph, then all the time you may not get a graph which looks constant like that. You may get like this graph. Okay, where y is changing with x. Now, suppose I try to ask what is the area between this point and this, between this point, area under this graph. So what you will do, from this point you drop one perpendicular, from this point you drop one perpendicular. Let me write x2 here. So I want to know this area. Now that area cannot be calculated directly, right? So what Sir Isaac Newton told is, he told you divide this into strips, rectangular strips, like this, and make them rectangle by doing like this. Okay, so now for this rectangle, and 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 for this rectangle, you can easily find the area because it is rectangle. Rectangle's area we know, na? So you can say the width, this interval is same for all of them. So this interval, this small interval width, I am writing as delta x because it is nothing but change in x. No, starting will be delta x. Dx means when it is very, very small. Again, revision has not been done properly. Okay. So delta x means a finite change. See, there is a difference between delta x and dx. Delta x means finite change. Finite change means it is a big change, not a very, very small change. When the change becomes very, very small, we write dx. So dx means infinitesimally small change. Infinitesimally small change. Now, if you are confused with the names infinitesimally, finite, just understand delta x matlab big change. Dx matlab very, 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 very small change. Okay. So right now the change is quite big only. So I'm calling it delta x. Now you can see for this rectangle, the y coordinate is different from this rectangle. From this rectangle. So the y coordinates are different for this rectangle, for this rectangle, for this rectangle. So y coordinates are y1, y2, y3, y4, y5, y6, y7. So your y coordinates are different. Now you take any one of the rectangles separately. Let us say the first rectangle. And if you ask what is the area? This is delta x. This is your y1. So what will be this area? It is a rectangle. So for rectangle, what is the area? This into this. Correct now? So it will be y1 into delta x. Then you go to the second rectangle. Second rectangle is slightly bigger here. This I have taken delta x, but this length will be different from this length. So I am calling it y2. Correct now? So y2 into delta x plus dot dot dot. So if you add all these areas of these rectangles, then we get total area of the rectangles. This is the total area of rectangles. This is revision class, so I am not writing very properly. Rectangles. Now, can I say this area, whatever I get, is the area which I wanted? Remember, the area which I wanted was this. This was x1, this was x2. I wanted this area, this whole area. This whole area I want. Can I say this is that area? No, I cannot say because you are missing some part. Here you are missing. Here you are missing. Here you are missing. Here you are missing. This part is missed. This part is missed. This part is missed, right? So what we need to do is very simple. We need to make this delta x very small. Matlab, you have to make lot of rectangles. So basically the idea is to find the area under the graph. What you do, so this is your y, this is your x, the graph is something like this. Here is your x1, here is your x2. You want this area. So what Newton said is you make one rectangle like this. Then you make one rectangle like this. Then you make one rectangle like this. Till you reach here. So like that, you keep finding areas of thin rectangles and you keep adding them. That will be the area under this graph between x1 and x2. Matlab, you have to write the same formula. Let me write summation symbol. This can be written as summation y into delta x. But you have to take limit of this. When this thickness should become very small. Should become very small. Then we call this is what is called integral of y dx. So we write this mathematically. Just write dy by dx. See, actually what is dy by dx? Delta y by delta x, limit delta x tends to 0. This we write as dy by dx. Correct now? Similarly, this is very boring to write. So to write this in a short way, Newton has written this as integral y dx. From where to where? You have to start from some coordinate x1 and stop some coordinate x2. So from x1 to x2. So this x1 and x2 are called lower limit and upper limit. Lower limit and upper limit. Okay. So what is the point of this? Will this be asked in exam, sir? Do we need to do all this? No. Then what we should remember? What you should remember is this. what you should remember is integral y dx from x1 to x2. What does it mean? It means area under yx graph between x1 and x2. See, if I write directly this sentence, then you will not understand only. You will think what sir has written. But once I explain this whole process of finding area under the graph, then it is very easy. Okay, students? Now, just like differentiation has some formulas, integration also has some formulas. Again, don't worry about all the formula. No need to remember. If you can remember, very good. But if you find it difficult, at least some 2-3 formulas you should try to remember. So the first formula in integration is integral of x power n dx. Not differentiation. Don't get confused with these two formulas. So integration of x power n dx. Anyone remembers? If you take time and write, I will come to know you are looking from somewhere. What is the formula for this? Formula is important. X to the power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. So this x to the power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. So this formula we should remember. Again, okay. This we should remember. Concept we should know. Then formula we should know. For example, if I ask integration of x dx. What is the power here? 1. Apply the formula. X power 1 plus 1 divided by 1 plus 1. X power 2 by 2. Many students, I remember in the beginning, no, they write like this. After writing this, one more integration they write. How you can write one more integration? After you have done the summation, you will not do again summation, no. After you have done the summation. And the good news is we don't have to do the summation. We don't have to actually draw the graph and try to find area of those rectangles. No, we don't have to do. Newton has done for us already. We just need to know the formula. And how this formula comes, they will teach in mathematics. In physics also, if you remember, I have explained, because integration is reverse process of differentiation. Integration is reverse process of differentiation. So from there, you can derive this formula. So please remember this. Also, one of the very important rule is, suppose you want to do integration of some constant function dx. This y is function, okay? This y is function of x. It could be x power n, it could be x power n I told, it could be sine x, cos x, whatever it is. If there is constant, you can take it outside. Okay, and then whatever function is given, you substitute. If this function is x, then put here x and write the answer. But if there is a constant, then you can take it outside. And very easy to remember also. I hope you remember in school days, while adding many terms, if there is a common, you take it out or not. While adding many terms, if there is something which is constant, you take it out of the summation, right? Similarly, in integration, no, at the heart, it means summation only. Then why we are not using summation? Suppose somebody will ask you, why you are using integration? Use summation. Summation you study in school also, they may ask. Problem is summation is used when the variables will jump. Listen to this. This one is new. Some few things I keep for later purpose also. So summation is used when your variables will jump. Jump matlab where, sir? Where are they jumping? No, when I say they jump, I mean they go from one value to another value without taking the in between values. Matlab, suppose I say add 2, 3 and 5. Add 2, 3 and 5. So normally you will add in calculator 2 plus 3 plus 5 equal to 10. Correct? Now suppose I say add all the numbers between 2 and 3. Add all the numbers between 2 and 3. Now when I do that, how will I do? First I will press 2. Then what will I press? Students, I'm asking something. Suppose I say add 2, 3 and 5. Then you know what to do. 2 plus 3 plus 5 equal to 10. Suppose I say add all the numbers between 2 and 3. Some of you are saying 2.1, but what about 2.01? What about 2.01? What about 2.001? So you are understanding, no? So the point is there will be, the next number is not known. The next number, understood, stop now. Understood. So the next number, we don't know only how much to write. Whatever number you will say, I will say smaller than that number. Very easy, divide by some number, it will get smaller. So you are understanding that when something changes continuously, that time summation technique is it cannot be used, summation technique, when something changes continuously. So if some car is moving and if you put a scale, this is a scale, car is moving, the car will not take one position and then suddenly go to another position. It will take all position. Similarly, if velocity of the car, suppose it is 20 km per hour, and after I press accelerator, it becomes 60 km per hour. From here to here, the velocity has to increase continuously. It cannot suddenly jump from 20 to 60. So when we have to add things which changes continuously, then we have to use integration. Okay, keep this in mind. So now, as I told you, when we do integration, we are adding, we are doing summation only, but we are doing summation for continuous variable like this one. Look here. This was your y, this was your x, correct now? So when the graph was like this, your rectangles, I told you have to start from this rectangle and then this rectangle, then this rectangle, then this rectangle, then this rectangle. So now you see the values of y. This is the value of y. Now this is the value of y. This is the value. So the value of y is changing continuously. When you make delta x tends to 0. So when you make delta x very, very small, very, very small, very, very small, your y variable is changing continuously. So that time we have to use integration. Suppose it was like this, students. Suppose it was like this. Suppose the graph was like this. Down, down, down like this. Then we don't have to use integration for this. Why integration for this? Aram se you do. This is y1. This is delta x, let us say. This is y2. This is delta x. This is y3. This is delta x. So now what will be the area under the graph? Exact area. What will it be? y1 into delta x, y2 into delta x, y3 into delta x. This is the total area. Agree or not? This is the total area. This is the area of this rectangle. This is the area of this rectangle. And this is the area of this rectangle. Right? So if y value jumps, okay, this much, then suddenly it jumps. This much, suddenly it jumps. This much, this. So if it is jumping, then you can use summation, no problem. It is only when your y will change continuously, then we have to use integration. Idea is same. We have to still make it into rectangles, but we have to make delta x very, 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 very small so that you don't miss any area under the graph. Those who are who are interested in computer science and all later in life, this is how you convert digital signal into analog signal. So digital signals will look like this. Digital signals will take certain values, 1, 0, then again 1, again 0, like that. But real life values are never discrete. Real life values are continuous. When I speak to you, hello, how are you? Everything is fine. No, when I say like that, if I talk in front of microphone, the variation of the sound is continuous. It is not like when I say hello, it is not in between hello. You cannot divide it into more parts. It is continuous signal. So how to convert continuous signals matlab analog signal, how to convert them into digital. So all this technique which I'm teaching you right now, that will come later in your life. Okay, those who are interested in computer science. Okay, so now whenever we do integration, which is basically addition, summation, we have to have some limits. We have to start from somewhere and go to somewhere. Correct, na? Okay. So if there are limits, x1, x2, or let us say ab, y dx. So the moment you see this, it means area under yx graph from A to B. Now, mathematically, this will be some function, remember. So after doing the integration, you will get some other function, g of x. Okay. So then what we do, after applying the formula, we write the limits here, upper limit here, lower limit here. Then the next step is, wherever is the variable x, wherever it is in the function, you have to put the upper limit. Minus, then minus sign we write. Wherever is the variable, we put the lower limit. And if you remember in class, I explained why we do like this. I've given reason also for this. Actually, this you have to memorize only. But for this also, I've given you reason. Let us apply this for one problem, simple problem. So integration of, let's say, x power 2 dx from 1 to 3. So first you have to understand this is your y. This is the function. Correct, na? This is the function. So once you integrate, for integration you have to go back to formula. So what is the formula for x power 2 dx? This is n. So it will be x power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. So x power 3 by 3. So after doing integration, what do you get? X power 3 by 3. Now this is the formula only. Now you have to put brackets, like I told here. Then this upper limit you have to show here. This lower limit you have to show here. Okay. And then wherever is the variable, x is here, na? That is the variable. Sir, how will I know which is variable? If I write dx, then x is the variable, because dx matlab what? Small change in x. So x is changing. So put upper limit here, 3 power 3 by 3, minus sign from the formula, then put lower limit in place of variable x, 1 power 3 by 3. So that will be 27 by 3 minus 1 by 3. It will be 26 by 3. Correct, no? Correct or not? Okay. So let me give you another formula. Integration of sine ax dx. Again and again, remember, do not write integration without dx. Obviously, it is area under the graph. So if you don't have width, how will you calculate the area? So dx must be there. And this is your function. This is your y. It is a trigonometric function. The formula, if you check your notes, it is minus cos ax by a. So that is the formula. Minus cos ax divided by a. How this formula comes? See my previous videos, you will come to know. Again, you have to remember the formula. This formula will not come now. It will come in 14th chapter when I will do oscillations. Simple harmonic motion when I will do, this formula will come that time. Right now we don't need, but still try to remember. That time also I will revise. Okay. Now, based on this, let me give you one problem. So integration of sine omega t from 0 to t, suppose. dt. If you don't write dt, it is useless. Now, before I do this integration, first you have to understand this omega t will be with sine all the time. This is the angle. Okay. So here, which is your x here? Which is your x? Which is the variable here? In this, t is the variable. And which is your a? A is a constant. So which is your a? Omega. Okay, omega. Now you cannot take this out. You will say, just now you told sir, if there is constant, we can take it out. Arey Baba, this is inside sine function, no? So if I have sine 45 degree, you cannot take 45 degree out and write sine of 1 degree like that. That is nonsense. This is nonsense. We don't do like that mathematics. Okay, na? So don't think of taking anything out here. If it was 45 was here, or it was here into, then you can take it out. But this is inside your sine function. So this omega t you cannot take, omega you cannot take out. So here apply the formula. First apply the formula, then you have to put limits. So what is the formula for sine ax minus cos ax by a? So this is minus cos omega t by t. You cannot stop here because limits are mentioned. So upper limit is t, lower limit is 0. Then what I told next step, wherever is variable, these two are variable. Oh, sorry, I did a mistake, omega. This is a, not x. Okay. So after writing this formula, I have to put limits in place of variable. So let us do that. So this is your answer, right? After doing the integration, this is what you get. Now put upper limit in place of variable. So minus cos omega t by omega, then minus sign, then put lower limit. Minus cos omega 0 by omega. Correct? Try to understand, students. See what I am doing. First, I apply the formula. The formula we have to memorize. Okay. After that, wherever is variable, put upper limit in the function. So in this function, you put upper limit, then minus sign. Then in place of variable, put lower limit in this function. So in this function, put lower limit. So this will be now minus cos omega t by omega. What is omega into 0? 0. What is cos 0? 1. So this minus minus would be plus. So 1 by omega. So then you can take minus omega t plus 1 divided by omega. So omega you can take LCM if you want. Yeah, you can write 1 minus cos omega t also. So everybody understood this. This is little not complicated. What is complicated in this? As long as you remember the formula. As long as you remember the formula, it is very simple. As long as you remember the formula, it is very simple. Okay. A little confusing means what is the confusing part? You tell, no, I will explain. Formula you have to remember, ma. This I cannot help you. This you have to memorize. I have already helped you. I have already helped you before by giving you how this formula comes. This formula comes from the knowledge that differentiation and integration are reverse process. So from there, again, this formula we will be using in 14th chapter. So by that time, no, you will get used to different integration. So don't worry, that time it will be comfortable. But right now also, it is not difficult. First, you apply the formula for integration. Then in this, wherever is your variable, put upper limit. Ting like that. Then minus sign. Then wherever is the function, put lower limit. Ting like that. Then you do after that mathematics only. After that algebra. This you do in school also. So minus cos omega t minus minus plus cos 0 is 1 divided by omega. That's it. Okay. Some student was asking, sir, if you add infinite terms, how will you get finite number? If you keep adding, because if I make delta x very small and if I keep adding infinite terms, how will I get finite value? So to understand that, let me just teach you something out of the box. Okay. Out of the box. So this is not for any exam, but just for enjoyment. The revision is complete. Okay. Solpa here and there, I will say something which will be important for tomorrow's class. So don't leave the meeting right now. Now, if I add 1 plus half plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 plus 1 by 16 plus dot dot dot. Do you know what is this answer up to infinity if I add? Up to infinity if I add, what is the answer of this? Up to infinity. You have to keep writing. What is the answer of this? Kishan is saying infinity. Yash is saying infinity. Try Madi. It's okay. So the answer of this is actually 2. So now students will think. How it is 2 like that. So they may ask how this is 2, because this is 1 by 2, 1 by 4. You keep adding. No, if you keep adding, how you are getting 2? You should get, if you keep adding, you should not get one number. No, you should get more and more number. But please understand, I am adding smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller terms. So if I keep adding smaller and smaller terms, I will get here 2. The reason is, see, one of the best way to understand is, this you will find in one of the books, okay? It is written by George Gamow. So this is, imagine this is square of side 1 and 1. What will be the area? Area of this 1, 2, somebody said 2. 1 into 1, 1. 1, right? Okay. So now, suppose I add exactly one more, exactly same. Exactly same, it doesn't look, no? So let me solve part, change it. Yeah. So now if I ask the total area, what will be total area now? 2, because this is 2, this is 1, it's a rectangle. Now you can see here, this area is 1. Now don't add this whole thing, only add half of this. So this plus this means this part, correct or not? 1 matlab this area, this half matlab half of this area. Yes or no? Agree or not? That 1 plus half matlab this total area. Agree or not? Now 1/4. 1/4 means what? Half of half. So remaining this part, you half it and you add this part. So if I add this is 1. This is 1/2. This is 1/2 of 1/2. So 1/4. So this is this area. Then this means this half. Right? Then if you include other one, it means this half. Then next term will be this half. Next term will be half of this. 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 You can never come out of the area. You can never come out of this area. So if you can keep adding these terms, ultimately in the limit, see again the word is limit. If you keep adding, ultimately in the limit, your answer will come 2. This area plus this area. How many of you understood the logic here? Okay, correct now. So though you are adding infinite terms, you are adding smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller. So you never come out of this area. So it will be here only. So this is one of the ways, okay, of understanding how 1 plus half plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 plus 1 by 16 is equal to 2. Okay. Now look here. Suppose I give you this function a plus bt and I integrate from 0 to t. Okay. Here let us say it is I. Why I, sir? Integral, think integral. So what will be this answer? Everybody try, Madi. A and B are constant. A and B are. Oh, what I forgot? See, what I forgot? Hey, dt I forgot. You can see, students, a person with 17 years knowledge, 17 years of teaching this, I am also forgetting. So you are just starting. So don't worry if you miss here and there some few things. But my job is to tell you that see, you are missing here. Last time Stalin has done some solution. I was telling him that here some few things are wrong. So you should not feel like, no, sir, I am doing so much work and still you are seeing wrong things only like that. Okay. So this dt I have missed. And also to one girl, I think I told, whenever two terms are there, two terms, better to put bracket. Better to put brackets. It looks nice. So now solve this. How will I do? So first I have to distributive law. Distributive law. First you integrate first term. So integrate a dt plus integrate bt dt. Correct now? From 0 to t. From 0 to t. So the first part is very easy. Distributive law. First integrate a dt, then integrate bt dt. Now constants, what I told, if there is a constant, you can take it out of the integration. So a is constant, take it out. What will be left? Integral of dt, 0 to t. Here what is constant? T is also constant. T is not constant. B you can take out. Integral t dt, 0 to t. Now apply formula. Integration of x power n dx is x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. Those who don't remember the formula, they will find it slightly confusing, students. If you know the formula, you will never find it confusing. Okay, it's like a plus b whole square formula. If you practice more number of times, you will remember. Now, what will be a integration of dx? To find integration of dx, what you do? Put power 0 here. If you put power 0, your answer will be x power 0 plus 1, 0 plus 1. Correct now? X power 0 is 1 only. So integration of dx will be x power 0 plus 1 is x. X power 0 plus 1 is x power 1. X power 1 matlab x only. So integration of dx is what? X. So integration of dt will be t. Now after doing integration, what I told? Put brackets, upper limit, lower limit, plus b. What is integration of x dx? Now the power is 1. So apply the formula. X power 1 plus 1, 2 divided by 1 plus 1, 2. So this will be t power. This is integration of t dt. Exactly same as integration of x dx. So integration of x dx is x square by 2. So integration of t dt will be t square by 2. Again put brackets, upper limit, lower limit. After doing that, you have to put the limits. So put upper limit first in place of variable. So t minus, put lower limit, 0. Then here plus. Then plus b. Put upper limit t square by 2 minus lower limit 0 square by 2. So finally you will get at plus bt square by 2. Okay, everybody understood? No, simple problem. Like these problems only you will get initially in kinematics chapter. So you should be and in kinematics chapter, the variable will be normally t, remember. Can you tell me why t will be the variable in that chapter? Can you think why t will be variable? Yeah, because things will change with time. So t will be the variable mostly in kinematics. Okay. But t is not the only variable. You can have x also. In this 10 minutes time, again something shall I do out of the box, or you want to stop the class? Stop the class means no problem for me. I will take rest. Shall we do something out of the box? Okay, one small thing we will do. Look here. You all know area of this circle. Imagine it is a disk. Imagine it is a disk. In this area of this disk, I hope all of you know, the area of this disk everybody knows is pi r square. Right. We can derive this formula now using integration also. But for that, you should know something. Okay? So what we will do to find the area of this disk. Okay, don't worry, students. Aram se you watch. So I will imagine this disk is made up of small rings. Small rings. So imagine I make a ring of 0 radius. This is the ring of 0 radius. You can see also. Then I will put one ring on top of it. Ring. Then one ring. Ring like this. Okay, ring. Then one more ring. Then one more ring. Then one more ring. One more ring. One more ring. Continuously. And if I keep adding area of these rings from center till I reach this ring, I will get the area of the disk. Agree or not? If I keep adding area of this ring, 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 till I reach this ring, I will get this area. Agree or not? Yeah. Okay. So what we will do at some distance x. At some distance x, capital R is the radius of the disk, remember. So at some distance x, let me make a ring. Whose radius is x and thickness is, this thickness should be very small, remember. This thickness should be very small. So what I should write for this, delta x or dx? Dx. So I write dx. So if this is x, then this will be small change in x only. Small change in x, you will write dx. Correct? No? So let me first ask, what is area of this ring? This ring. Only that area. So area of ring of radius x and thickness dx. Radius is x, thickness is dx. What will be area of this? But to find it in an easy way, see what you do. You see, this is the ring whose area I want. Correct? No? Thickness, radius is x, thickness is dx. Correct? Now, what you do, you cut here. Cut and open. Cut here and open. It will look like a rectangle. Yes or no? I know one part should be slightly smaller actually, but I wrote here dx. No, dx matlab infinitesimally small. So this is very small. This thickness is very small. Understood or not? So don't worry about difference between this part and this part. Now, what is the circumference of this? Circumference of this. If the radius is x, what is the circumference? If the radius is x, what is the circumference? No, radius is x, I'm saying. Then circumference will be 2 pi x. So this circumference I can write here, 2 pi x. And this thickness is this, dx. Correct now? So what will be this area? Now it looks like almost a rectangle. What is this area? Length into breadth. Correct? So this is the area of this rectangle which came from this square, this area. So area of this ring is basically area of this strip, which is 2 pi x dx. Dx you write solve separately. 2 pi x dx. Okay? So once you know area of this ring, now what you do to find total area? To find total area of the disk, what you do? You start from this disk, this ring, till you reach this ring. Till you reach this ring here on top. So your total area will be integration. Matlab adding this area, which is the area of this ring. Starting from where to where? This variable x will start from which value till which value? Can you tell me that? No. When you are here, what is your x value when you are here? Only tell me that much. When your ring is here, what is your x value? 0. When you reach here, what will be your x? No. When you reach here, this was given to you in the question, no? So it will be r. So your x value should go from 0 to r. Now apply the formula. Apply the formula which you know. 2 pi is constant. 2 pi is constant. I can take it outside. What is left? Integration of x dx from 0 to r. What is integration of x dx? 1000 times I have told. X square by 2. So 2 pi x square by 2. Limits are what? 0 and r. So upper limit is capital R, lower limit is 0. Now what I should do after that? What is the step? Next, space is not there. Let me write here. So total area 2 pi. In place of x, put upper limit r square by 2 minus put lower limit 0 square by 2. What is this? This is 0. This is 0. R square by 2 minus 0 is r square by 2. So 2 pi r square by 2. What happens to 2? Cancel. Why yo? What is this? Pi r square. Yes or no? Are you understanding how I did? Don't worry. If you have understood, good. If you have not understood also, it's okay. I will again explain these things. No, we will need later, especially for more difficult problems. For easy problems and all, we don't need this. So like this, we can construct area of the disk. We can find from area of these rings, because basically a disk is made up of small rings, starting from center till you reach here. And see how nicely we have chosen the limits. So when I start from this ring, my variable is 0. When I go to this ring, my variable x becomes capital R. So that way you have to choose the limits. Then only you can do the integration. Okay, thank you. Anybody wants to discuss about this? Like, no, some of you may think, sir, why you wrote circumference as 2 pi x? Circumference should be 2 pi x plus dx. Some of you may think like this also. That is also good only, good point only. No, not like that. Geometry was known much before integration. So not from there, but still we can do it. Okay. So some of you may think area of circumference is 2 pi x. I wrote here, no, this circumference. But why I did not write 2 pi x plus dx? That also you may think. So the reason is very simple. While adding, this is very small. So while adding, you can neglect something which is very small. While adding, remember, not while multiplying. While multiplying, you cannot neglect. 1 crore plus 0.1. You can neglect 0.1. But 1 crore into 0.1, you cannot neglect 0.1. While multiplying, you cannot neglect. While adding or subtracting, you can neglect something which is very small while adding and subtracting. Okay, think about all these things. And again, I'm telling, revise today, this night, differentiation, integration. Vectors we will need later. Vectors we will need later, but revise differentiation and integration. Okay, thank you.